Back in 2014, Allen Lazard was the #1 ranked recruit in the state of Iowa. Since then, he's broken collegiate records, gone undrafted, and been cut not once, but twice. But still, through hard work and a strong mental, dudes made the most of every opportunity and could just be a rising star in the NFL. This wasn't the video I planned on doing, but 2020 has been a pretty dark year. Past couple of days have been even darker. So to cheer myself up, and hopefully all of y'all that's watching this video, I wanted to tell a feel-good story, and the journey of Allen Lazard is exactly that. Dude's still hella early in his career, and we don't know exactly where things are gonna go, but we can say at this point in time, it looks to be trending up, and that's good news. Anyway, without further ado, this is what happened to Allen Lazard. Cue the Wayne. I'ma go get her. Allen Lazard began watching film with his dad back when he was only 4 years old. His dad, Kevin, played ball at Iowa State in the early 90s, and he'd use his own tape, good and bad, to teach his sons lessons of the game early on. He actually put extra emphasis on character and how guys responded to different situations. If a player lost his cool out on the field, Kevin's dad would point that out, tell his sons the correct way to handle the situation. Maintaining a strong character was a huge point of emphasis in the Lazard household. As a kid, Allen attended Iowa State football games, reunions, and everything else with his dad, basically being raised in an Iowa State tradition. Allen was a grinder from jump, working hard to fill out his frame in order to make the most of the height he was blessed with. Thanks to those early film sessions, Allen had been equipped with a cool demeanor, like nothing got to this dude, and that ever so important trait allowed him to perform his best when it came to any sport and event, regardless of the circumstances. When he was hooping, last second shot, oh, he gonna sink that. Fourth quarter, third down and long, throw it up. He got that. When he was a junior in high school, Allen's coach wisely changed the playbook from a triple option to a spread concept. Make no mistake, this was all in order to get the most out of Allen's ability. Did it pay off? Obviously. Allen caught 40 passes for 928 yards and 11 touchdowns during his junior season. After that, he got offers from Notre Dame, Stanford, Oregon, just to name a few. His dominance continued his senior season to the point that by the end of it, Allen was named the #1 recruit in the state of Iowa by 24/7 Sports. At this point, Allen Lazard was that dude. He can go to damn near any school he chose. But then he remembered something. Back when he was a sophomore, he'd verbally committed to Iowa State. Now check it out. He was pretty much nobody on the recruiting scene at that time. So nobody was really gonna hold it against him if he didn't honor a verbal commitment he made years earlier when the circumstances was way different. And while it might seem like an easy decision to just cross Iowa State off the list at that point, here's a quote from Allen about his thought process during that time. I went through a period of time of being very unsure, having a foot in each door, half in, half out. But then I realized when I close my eyes and picture myself playing college football, there's only one uniform I'd ever pictured myself playing in. In a move that surprised a whole bunch of people, Iowa State landed the #1 recruit in the state of Iowa, Allen Lazard. Allen kept his commitment to Iowa State, and even after they went 3-9 his senior season in high school, dude still passed up Notre Dame and LSU and all these other schools to go to Iowa State. He did it, man. Allen saw himself playing there ever since watching his dad's old film way back when he was little. He basically felt like he could be the spark to really turn the university around, but it wasn't gonna be easy. Allen was the second leading receiver on the team as a freshman. He put up really good numbers, but the team finished 2-10. He led the team in receiving yards for the next 3 years, flirting with, if not surpassing, 1,000 yards in all 3. His best statistical season was 2016 during his junior campaign. That year, he caught 69 passes for 1,018 yards and scored 7 touchdowns. But if you ask Allen, I'm pretty sure he'd tell you his most successful year was the following year, 2017. As a senior, Allen caught 71 passes for 941 yards and 10 TDs, which is great. But the fact that he helped lead Iowa State to an 8-5 record and a Liberty Bowl victory was monumental. Bro, again, we talking about a team that had not had a winning record since Allen was in middle school. He went there with a goal of helping turn the program around, and he did exactly that. The question is, what did he sacrifice? Allen would have likely better positioned himself for the NFL draft had he gone to a larger program. And when you look at some of Allen's major offers like the LSU's and the Notre Dame, they're known for churning out NFL receivers. At the end of the day, Allen kept his word, honored his dad's legacy, got Iowa State a bowl game victory, and still holds pretty much all the receiving records at the school. He'd later admit that transferring did cross his mind around his junior season, but he ultimately stuck it out, and looking back, I'm sure he's glad that he did. Allen was projected as a day 3 pick in the 2018 draft. So when day 3 rolled around, Allen and 40 of his closest friends and family piled up in at Buffalo Wild Wings to, watch your boy make history, you feel me? So there they sat, this big group, watching receiver after receiver get drafted. The 4th round passes, then the 5th, then the 6th round. Next thing you know, the draft is over, and Allen has never heard his name called. Obviously disheartened, Allen actually dealt with the adversity the same way his dad had always taught him, with character. He didn't flip out, he didn't lose his cool, he didn't panic, he didn't say, woe is me, he just said, okay, what's next? What do I gotta do now? Shortly after the draft, Allen got a call from the Jacksonville Jaguars, who offered him a free agent contract. Of course, he signed it as quickly as he could. So at this point, he was in the building, but the 6'5", 230-pound receiver couldn't get off the practice squad. Dude grinded like he always had, continued to work and work, but by December of that year, he was mentally starting to wear down, as he felt he hadn't really been given a fair look. You gotta remember, you're looking at a cat who went from #1 recruit to undrafted, now he's on the practice squad. I'm pretty sure at that point he really started to second guess some of the choices he'd made in his early career. But at that point, it was nothing he can do but just keep pushing forward. Then randomly, one Tuesday after Allen finished his workout, he got a call from the Greenbay Packers after star receiver Davante Adams had gotten injured. The Packers needed to sign a wide receiver to their 53-man roster, and for Allen, this was obviously a no-brainer. Obviously he's gonna jump at the opportunity to be on the active roster and finally be off the practice squad. Not to mention the icing on the cake, he's moving closer to home as he's a Midwest kid, and he's going to play with Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He probably need a shower after that workout, just hop straight on a plane. It was late in the season when he got there, and Allen only played in 1 game. He got 1 target and converted that into 1 reception for 7 yards. That might not seem like a big deal, but after you've been waived by the Jaguars, sitting over there on the practice squad, not knowing if you ever gonna play an actual NFL down. Now, just like that, you in Green Bay, you on the field, catching a pass from Aaron Rodgers. It's a huge deal, bro. That 1 catch gave Allen some much needed confidence, and it gave him a boost, you know what I'm saying? Just mentally going into the offseason. He was finally being given a true NFL opportunity, and he thought he was committed before that, but he took his commitment level up yet another level during that offseason. Dude came back the next year, bro. He lost 20 pounds. He was quicker, faster, stronger, more explosive, just all around a better player than the one that they had brought in. For a professional athlete who's in shape to drop another 20 pounds, that's a different level of commitment to diet and exercise. Despite all of that, the circumstances that had created the roster spot in the first place had changed. Davante Adams was back. All the receivers was healthy. So not only did Lazard now have to compete with these veterans, remember that 2018 draft when Lazard had his whole family sitting up in Buffalo Wild Wings and didn't get picked? Well, the Packers actually chose 3 receivers in that draft. So now the undrafted practice squad player from the Jaguars has to compete with 3 receivers who were all drafted ahead of him. What did he do? Well, dude just made play after play after play at practice. He balled out in the preseason and he looked pretty damn good. Worked his ass off and put himself in a position to make the team. But he still didn't. Bro, after all of that, this man still got cut. Basically, he was placed on waivers. Nobody else wanted him, so he cleared waivers, and then the Packers put him right back on the practice squad. But again, we go back to the lessons his dad taught him when he was young about handling adversity with character. That's exactly what he did. He kept grinding. He kept doing exactly what he had been doing before. And literally, bro, 3 days later, all right, 3 days later, a rookie tight end got placed on injured reserve, and the first call to come up to the active roster, Allen Lazard. He was back. He ended up playing in all 16 regular season games and caught 35 passes for 477 yards and 3 touchdowns. Again, we talking about a cat who barely made the roster. 477 yards, 35 catches, 3 touchdowns. Dude went off. A couple weeks ago, when Aaron Rodgers was asked about the lack of first-round wide receiver talent coming into the building this season, instead of complaining about the Packers drafting another quarterback in the first round, which I'm sure pissed him off, Aaron instead chose to focus on the wide receiver talent that's already in the building. Here's what he had to say about Allen Lazard. By the end of the season, he was called upon many times in important situations to make big plays, and he did. He's just a great teammate and an ascending player. Loved his approach every week, and he made some big time plays for us. So the undrafted free agent just got co-signed by one of the top quarterbacks in the game. And more importantly, the one who's going to be throwing him the ball this season. His work habits, attitude, and most importantly, performance in games has earned the trust of Aaron Rodgers, a cat who does not just hand out compliments, bro. That ain't really his MO. And while the Packers don't seem to believe in drafting a wide receiver in the first round for Aaron Rodgers, you do have to give them credit for recognizing the talent that was Davante Adams in the second round in 2014. Maybe this year's draft played out the way it did because they see something special in Allen Lazard. The Packers re-signed Allen earlier this offseason, and many media outlets are predicting Lazard to emerge as a true number 2 to Davante Adams this season. See, this is one of those side stories, like a story within a story, that's going to be fun to watch this year. Allen's had a long journey already and been on the brink of being out of football multiple times. He may never become a superstar, but these are the stories within a bigger story that make the game so damn compelling. My name is FlemLo Raps. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'm gonna holler at you next time. One.